as I got better with my offer, better at understanding the pain points that my clients needed me to relieve, one call closes started flowing. There's two ways that that happened. The first way, my qualification got longer, right? You know, when you have a new offer, you tend to over explain and over justify the service. And so, taking my own advice in home service sales, in consulting sales, I just spend more time listening, more time letting the customer increase the pain, and less time presenting.
Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. It's been too long. Normally, we do 2 episodes a week. I believe last week we did 1 episode, and this week I had to make it happen. It's Wednesday. I'm on the road, but I want to get you guys an episode out tomorrow. So there's going to be some background noise, but it's not going to be a long episode, and I'm going to get you some very tactical information right now to help you with your sales program. And that information is centered around taking your sales process from a bid style or a I'll get back to you with a quote style process to an in-home close or a on the Zoom during the appointment close. And so I have a lot of thoughts on this from the home services side, from the tradesman side, as well as going all the way over to consultants, coaches, service providers, in the B2B space. And so let's just start with home services, right? And so if you do remodels, if you do new home builds, if you do roofs, kitchens, any of that stuff, any construction type work, typically what I'm finding with those clients is they have a sales process that once they are in the home and the customer wants to move forward with the bid, they then leave the home and then get back to the customer with a bid a few days later, or a proposal, or even a design. If you're in the pool space, this happens a lot because you got to design the pool and the customer has to approve that design. So my issue with this is it doesn't create any commitment, and now you're doing more work than the actual time that you spent to show up to the appointment and everything. So I have an issue with it because it's a two-touch close now, to where, okay, I have to do an appointment, I have to follow up with an email. We all know where emails go. They go in the inbox, and a lot of people's inboxes are hundreds of emails read. And so I want to make sure that you guys don't get caught in the inbox, you don't get caught unread on the text. And that if you're in the home, that is the time to close. Now, understand a close is not always full payment. It may be a small, one of the things I'm having one of my remodel clients do is take a design fee. And the same thing with the pool installation clients. And this is because you're going to spend time designing that pool, doing the 3D rendering. You spend money on that software to be able to do that. And so, but there's utility for the design. So once you submit the design to them and they like the design, we understand that, hey, if for some reason they want to go with somebody else, you're still getting paid for that design, and then they're taking their design to someone else, and then they're fulfilling the install. So it still has utility. If it has utility, then it should require payment. And I know your designers, your CAD designers, your designers cost money. And so you may spend 2 hours of the time, 3 hours of their time designing a pool install or designing a kitchen remodel or whatever, the bathroom, and then not getting paid for it at all because you didn't get the bid, right? And so that is why in the home we collect that design fee, and now we are solidifying our relationship. The first time they give you, when they give you dollars, they're now making a commitment to you for at least that minimum service. So it's so much easier to then get the install after that. And so, one of the things you want to make sure of when you collect these design fees is they understand the budget that you're saying you can do this project for. And the important part is you're saying it. Yes, they're going to say, "Oh, I have a budget of $30,000 for a new pool," and then you're coming back and saying, "Well, most of the pools we do are in the $40,000 to $50,000 range. This is why. Here's the features and the benefits, so on and so forth." Right? I just need to collect the design fee, and once we get it designed and you approve that design, then I can give you a dollars and cents bid on this installation. And so just by taking the initial transaction from a follow-up bid or an email or a quote that's sent to them a couple of days later after they're not excited about it anymore, you're not in their home anymore to get them excited about it, uh, that typically results in a 5 to 10% increase in conversion rate. What it also does for you is it gives you the right kind of clients. So if you think about it, the clients that make a decision in the home, they appreciate quality more, right? Because typically, if you've been following me for a while, we build value in the qualification section of the script, right? And so they appreciate the quality, they appreciate the time that you spend listening to them and their wants and needs. And so they are your premium client, your avatar client. And the benefit of this is, their decision doesn't get muddied by other contractors, right? Because the other contractors are going to come in because they're not following us and don't have the values that you guys have. The other contractors are going to come in and underbid, or are going to come in with 5K less price, right? And so all they're doing is muddying the water, making that proposal harder to close once you do send it out, because now they've met with that contractor. And so we're going to have a harder time closing those. So we want to close in the home some which way, shape, or form. All right, so same concept. When I first started consulting, I had a 2 or 3 touch sales process, in terms of, from interest to close. And then as I got better with my offer, better at understanding the pain points that my clients needed me to relieve, the one call closes started flowing. And there's 2 ways that happened. The first way is my qualification got longer, right? When you have a new offer, you tend to over explain and over justify the service. And so taking my own advice in home service sales, in consulting sales, I just spend more time listening, more time letting the customer increase the pain, and less time presenting. And so I started out with a sales deck when I did this. And if you are a client of mine, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so the sales deck was cool because it gave them a visual of the deliverables that I was going to provide for them. But at the same time, they really just wanted to know, all right, based on these pain points that I have, how are you going to solve those? Be showing examples of those solutions, which is better than a sales deck because it's like, oh, he's didn't put this into a presentation. He's literally going into his client files and showing me what he's doing for clients. And then they see the client folder with all your clients in it. And so there's some credibility, validity there that happens. And so I started getting rid of the sales deck. Now I recommend the sales deck if you are not as experienced, you're training new salespeople. They need it to stay on task and to keep on with the conversation. But as you get better at this, you can kind of let the sales deck go, and your more experienced closers can actually close without a sales deck. All you need is that pricing page. Because when you bring in the pricing page, what happens is, all right, this is standard pricing. This is not something you just made up in his head. There's validity to it. Now I've got standard pricing. Okay, so the one call close, the in the home close right away, if we can figure out a way to adjust our sales process to accommodate those things, then I believe, and I don't believe, I've seen a 5 to 10% increase in the appointment to close and the call to close conversion rate. And so it's all about closing now, getting to the objections faster, because whenever you close after the fact, you've got to overcome objections via email. You've got to overcome objections via telephone call. you got to overcome objections via a second appointment, when they've like really dug in already versus when you try and close in the first appointment, they're bringing the objections out right away and they're not as ingrained in them, or they haven't dug their heels in them because they haven't been thinking about those objections for days. You just presented them with a close, and now those objections are fresh, and you know the objections because you've got the experience, so you're able to overcome them fairly easily, especially if you follow that four-step sales process that I've been preaching to you guys for years. So if you're not closing in the home, if you're not closing on the first call, start doing that, and obviously the more that you market to your customer in between interest and appointment or interest and call, that is going to only increase credibility and value, and so make sure you have systems in place that say, hey, these are why, our clients are happy, these are why our customers enjoy us, whatever the case. Definitely make sure you take advantage of that. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case. As always, I appreciate you guys for listening, and make sure, if you haven't yet, get your tickets to Building Great Sales Team 24. We're going to be in San Antonio at Rebel Church on July 12th. And I'm incredibly excited about the event. I have some amazing speakers and panelists for you guys, as well as we are going to do a hybrid workshop style, conference style business event, so you guys can have real takeaways and real documents on which to execute those takeaways on. So excited for that event. You're going to go to bgst.com forward slash, bgstevent.com /24. It'll be in the show notes as well. Look forward to seeing you guys there.